Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of the harvest season. My name is Al,
And my name is Kevin,
and
or so
we're
I'm told.
and we're here today to talk about how tired we are,
Oh gosh, yes.
and also cottagecore games.
Woo.
Woo, woo!
Hey, that's the correct one. That's how my
That's
brain
all of
feels
the
right now.
enthusiasm you get from this episode, though.
Uh,
All right. Um, this episode we're going to talk about Pixel Cross Rune Factory, the new Pixel
I
Cross game.
by the not Picross people.
Yeah, yeah. Picross by someone else. Uh,
Yeah.
Before that, we obviously have the news, a good chunk of news. So we're going to talk about that. But first of all, Kevin, what have you been up to?
Oh gosh. So, not a lot in terms of games and all that. Why you ask? Because I went on a work trip this week. I just got back uh this morning, a couple hours ago, when we start this recording. So I went to sunny San Diego, California. Um, my first time back to my home state in almost 25 years. Um, I'm not from San Diego. I'm a little farther north. It's my hometown area, but yeah, I went to San Diego a few times because SeaWorld was there, but not too many memories other than SeaWorld. But no, the trip itself was fine. The work stuff was work stuff, whatever. But just yesterday I got basically an extra day where I got to spend a little time to run around San Diego. Um, I went down to the beach, this place called La Jolla Cove. There are sea lions, there are rocky cliffs. You can wade in the water and the beach. It is all the hallmarks from my childhood because I lived by the coast, farther north, like I said, but almost the same thing. Many seals and sea lions. Very, very enjoyable. The weather was nice. That was a great time. So yeah, that was fun. What wasn't fun was the kind of the bookends, the start and the beginning of this. So, um, as I was leaving, I was bringing my own personal laptop because I might need it for something or wanted to do stuff with it. Um, and then I soon discovered that it wasn't charging. At first, I thought it was the charger that wasn't working. Then I thought it was the port, but it wasn't charging with the original charger, which is a different kind of port. Um, Long story short, I think my personal computer is dead.
Oh no.
Uh, so I have to get that repaired. I don't know if it's a battery thing or whatever, but I would like that fixed because I have things on there, including my other Audacity and recordings. That's my usual recording computer. Um, so I need to get that fixed. And also that explains the crummy audio quality coming from me today because I have my microphone, but it's a USB-A connector, and the computer I'm using right now is only USB-C ports because the brilliant design, of course, I guess. And I don't have a dongle or adapter, whatever. So I'm just using standard laptop recording. So yeah, sorry about that, folks. So that happened. That was not fun. I need to address that. Um, so the trip back, that was something because the plane left, or it was I had one layover in Los Angeles. Um, so my first flight left like at 6 p.m. San Diego time, and it was only not even a full half hour to get to Los Angeles. So I was there by 7 p.m. or whatever, let's just say. Um, but then the other flight left at 11 p.m., so I was in the airport doing not
Yeah,
much of anything
always
for four
fun.
hours. But the real fun part is, so we left at 11 p.m., right? And I'm traveling west to east, so the time jumps gets weird and we had daylight savings time change.
Oh,
Um, so
just to make it even more confusing.
yep. So my flight left at like 11 p.m. I arrived today at 7 a.m., but it was only a 4-hour flight. So you do the math.
Wow.
I
I don't think I want to do the maths on that, to be
I
honest.
I
It was
think
it was bad
literally,
enough. It was bad enough trying to figure out what
yeah.
time it would be for you today when we're recording
Yeah.
at what is normal time for me.
Yeah. Literally, I lost like the flight was half the time of the time change. Like it's bad. I only slept 4 hours, but I landed 8 hours later. So I'm tired. My feet's in pain from walking and all that. I'm kind of all beat up. So yeah, not a lot of games because of that. Um, I got in a game of Snap here or there, but not that much. But what I did get to see on the way on the flight to San Diego, I got to watch a couple of movies because it's a longish flight.
Hmm.
Um, the first one was John Wick Chapter 4. Have you watched the John Wick
I
movies,
have,
Al?
yes, yes, I have.
Okay.
I
So
didn't watch them for a long time because I was like, ugh, just another action film. And then I
yeah,
watched the first one and was like, oh no, this is
yeah.
not just this is like I don't know why nobody told me before I watched them that they were satire. Like they're fantastic. They're so good.
Oh yeah, they are incredible, right? Um, so yeah, a big fan of the Wick series. The fourth one I think is the weakest entry in the whole thing. Um, I feel like so obviously they're just thinly veiled excuses for, gun katas and choreography and stuff, right? Like I get
Mhm.
that. But even even by those standards, like I don't know, the plot here just wasn't doing it for me. Right, like uh, John's motivations didn't line up. Like he was supposed to go out and kill the 12 members of the table or whatever. He killed only the one guy. I don't know. But anyways, the action was good, of course. So it feels like the most ridiculous of the series, which is a lot, but because I don't know why we have guns versus Japanese bows and arrows and samurai swords, but we do because it's cool, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels like even by John Wick standards, there are a few places that just kind of went a little over the top. Or maybe it's just a little fatigue from seeing the other three entries or whatever. I don't know. But I mean, overall, it was good. I'm not trying to berate it too much. Just probably my least favorite of the entire series. Um, but and hey, it's Keanu, right? Like I'm always happy to see that, and I love his trademark yeah that he does in every movie. Like 50% of his lines are just that yeah. Um, good old Keanu. Let's see. The other one I watched was A Quiet Place Day One.
Mm.
Um, so I have not seen either of the other Quiet Place movies. I didn't know a
Yeah,
third one came out, but I saw it on the list. I was like, sure, why not? Have you seen Quiet Place
yeah,
either?
I've seen them all. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
which I'm just noticing how funny this is because because we were having a chat on one of the slacks about someone claiming that I just watch everything, and then the two series that you're talking about, I've
That
watched both
bring
of
up,
them. But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
um,
um,
the I do I I don't think it's actually a bad place
uh-huh.
to enter the series.
Well,
Um,
from what I understand, they're not like all the stories aren't directly connected, right? They're
one
different.
the first two films are there is
They
it's
are?
very much a direct yeah the second film is very
Oh
much a
gosh, I
direct
thought that.
sequel of the
Oh,
first
never
one,
mind then. Okay.
but day one is very much a prequel, not
Right.
connecting
Mm-hmm.
directly to individual people, but the
Okay.
concept, yeah.
Sure,
So
sure, sure.
if you understand the concept of it, then
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah, and then, it's not a terribly hard concept. So yeah, yeah. I was familiar with that. So, um, I don't know. Like, obviously, I can't compare it to the first two. I haven't seen them, but this one felt like a little. they were forcing it a little too much, right? Like we've already got a cancer patient, right? So they're already trying to tug at the heartstrings or whatever, and then you have the dang cat, which caused my anxiety to spike so much because the cat in that movie looks a lot like my cat or one of my cats. So, and of course, what are they going to do? They're going to keep putting it in danger. But yeah, so that was it was a lot of it was very uh heavy-handed in how it was trying to raise the stakes for me, let's say. Um, but overall, not a bad film. Um, yeah, that like I think there are a few moments of like, that's a little questionable. Like I don't know why this character did this or whatever, but overall, pretty fine. Um, yeah, I don't have much else to say. I liked it overall though. But that's what I've got going on for me. What about you, El? What's going on over there?
Yeah, I've also not done a huge amount of gaming. This week has been busy, busy. Obviously, I've been playing Pixel Cross Rune Factory for the episode.
I did
Um,
too.
and I did a bit of raids in Scarlet and Violet this
Raid
weekend.
Shadow Legend. Uh,
And obviously, I'm continuing on Pokemon Go every day. Yeah, that's probably about it games wise. I did watch the first two episodes of the new Daredevil Born Again series. So there's
how
that.
are they? Do tell me.
I very much enjoy is enjoyed the right word. I very much thought I thought they were good.
I thought they
Um,
were shows.
there was a couple of no. It's more a case of I can't say much without spoiling it.
Okay.
But there's stuff that happens that doesn't make me happy, but it's not meant to make me happy, right? Like,
Okay. Well, a mission accomplished. That's
yeah,
not
I'm
necessarily a
feeling
bad
what they
thing.
want me to feel, and it
Uh-huh.
yeah,
I
it's
don't like the feeling. Um,
the
okay. What is the plot? Because that I don't know any, like I haven't heard anything about the specifics.
have you
What
seen
is
the Netflix series?
I have not, but I know enough about it, I think. Um, it's
I mean
pretty
the overall
Daredevil.
idea of the series is this is the Fisk is mayor one, so um,
Okay.
which I think they've done in comics before. I'm sure.
Sure.
I know I've kind of seen some things about it, but that's the kind of overall. Uh, Something happens at the beginning of the first episode that leads to Daredevil stopping being Daredevil, and then Fisk becomes mayor, and now we're a little bit further on, and now Matt wants to be Daredevil again, or doesn't want to be Daredevil again, but you know what I mean? Like it's forced
Yeah.
into being Daredevil again,
Yeah.
because of things that happen. Um,
Okay.
it's hard to
Uh,
say much without spoiling the episodes, right?
okay. That's fine, I guess, but okay. Well, Fisk is mayor. Okay, that's the elevator pitch I was looking
Yeah.
for. Okay, here's a question. Where does this fit into the timeline, like with She-Hulk? Because that's the one I'm actually seeing with good old Matt in it.
Yeah, it's a good question. They don't directly tie it in, but I think as far as I can tell, it's She-Hulk, and then a little while later, Echo happens, and then a little while later, this happens.
Okay.
They directly reference Echo happening in the past,
Okay.
and that I I yeah, they don't directly reference the rest of the stuff, but it's definitely implied that that's. I think it's happened in the past, but not
Okay.
sure. Like just in terms of like just general MCU continuity, right?
Mm-hmm. Um, okay, that's interesting because I haven't seen Echo. Um,
Echoes. Well, okay. I really enjoyed Echo. Um,
okay.
I thought it was very good. Yeah,
Okay. I mean, no, like I believe it. Just I'm thinking, just like because obviously, I feel like there's a lot of important context because with the end of Hawkeye, you get some Kingpin, and then you
yep,
got Echo and
yep.
She-Hulk. So
Yeah,
I'm just
he's popping up in a lot of things, isn't he?
yep, yeah, he is, and that's fine because it's a great portrayal. But just context wise, like how do I? I missed a few
I would watch.
chapters in how we got here.
I would definitely. I would. Did you watch? You watched Hawkeye?
I watched Hawkeye,
Yeah,
yes.
I would watch Echo. I think it's worth
Uh-huh.
watching Echo. The not necessarily for Daredevil. I don't think it really does a huge amount for Daredevil, but
Yeah.
it does for Fisk. I think
Okay.
it's important for Fisk's story.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Is Kate Bishop in it? Is Kate Bishop in any of this?
She has not been yet.
No, but I like Kate Bishop
I also like Kate Bishop.
specifically this one. What's her name? Haley
There,
Steinfeld.
yeah, there were
Yes.
some rumors that her stepdad, what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Oh, the sword
The guy with
guy.
yeah, there were some rumors that he's going to appear in this series,
Okay. Oh, huh.
but
That'd be
we'll
interesting. I
see.
don't remember his name. Is he supposed to be Swordmaster? I don't know. Whatever.
I think he's kind of loosely based on that idea, but he's not actually.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
just a bozo.
yeah. That's the feeling I get. Well, I don't even need Kate, well, Bishop specifically. I just want more Haley Steinfeld in my life.
Yeah, there is that.
There is
Yeah,
that.
I would be surprised if we don't get her in the next 2 years in something.
I mean, yeah. Well,
Although
you
I
know
guess
what?
is that cheating? Because in 2 years we've got Secret Wars, and if we don't get anybody, if someone doesn't appear in Secret Wars, they're basically dead, right? Like
I was look,
they're not going to be in anything again.
I was about to say with at the current state of the MCU, it's a kind of a 50-50 on that question for almost anyone.
I don't think I don't think Kate Bishop was badly received at all. Like there are
Yeah,
some characters that I could see them just like I would be really sad if She-Hulk never appears again, but I would
yes.
understand based on the internet. But
Yeah.
I didn't see anything about that with
Yeah, yeah, no,
Kate Bishop.
here's the thing, like my point is it feel like in such a directionless disarray, I don't
Well,
even think that's a factor. Like what
well, I think they're at the point now where they're just wrapping up the stories that they weren't sure about, and I think they probably have good ideas for what they want to do, but they need to wrap up what they were doing before they can do that. If that makes sense, like it feels
eh,
like we're kind of almost like falling towards Secret Wars because they want to get it over and done with, and then
yes.
reset into something that they can do the stories they actually want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
The classic
Yeah.
comic book way, right?
Yep. Yep. Throw away everything because we're not sure anymore. Just do the new thing, I guess.
Yeah, we would like to do our film that lets us have Pedro Pascal alongside Robert Downey Jr. Please and thank you. Move along.
Yeah, that's yeah, ooh. That might be a fair trade-off. You won't get what's his name? Oh gosh, One Direction guy.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, Harry Styles,
Yeah, you're not I
Star
promise you we're
Fox.
not getting Harry Styles anymore, but we'll get Pedro Pascal. That's a fair trade-off. Uh,
Yeah.
um
Look, I
oh
just
man.
the one that boggles my mind that they've not brought back is Shang-Chi. Why has he not reappeared anywhere? Bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bizarre to me. Like
Ah.
that was such a well-received film.
It was. Yeah. I mean, but really, I mean, everything post Infinity War, like, not by individual, like, obviously there's been great and highs and lows, but just like the entire idea of their continuity and connectedness has been an absolute mess, a train wreck. So I don't know.
It's really interesting if you look back
Hmm.
on release dates.
Yeah.
So we had a whole Iron Man trilogy in
Yes.
5 years,
Right.
2008 to 2013.
Yeah.
It has been nearly 4 years since Shang-Chi came out.
Oh, sick.
So, so in the time that it has been since Shang-Chi, Iron Man was nearly at its third film.
Crazy.
Thor had a full trilogy in 6 years. Captain America had a full trilogy in 5 years. Like it's
Oh,
fascinating how slow they are at getting sequels out now.
yeah. One of my favorite benchmarks of any time comparison is the U.S. Confederacy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we have now a full
2000,
confederacy
yeah.
between Shang-Chi appearances. Oh
Fun,
yeah.
fun times. Anyway, I've also been watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, so that's the thing I'm kind of
Oh
watching through
yeah,
just
I
now.
forgot about that.
So I have
Hmm.
just finished season one, and
Okay.
I'm enjoying it very much. So, um, particularly there was a fun. So when they get to the North Pole,
Yep.
there's a very fun. Katara has a very fun fight with someone.
Yep.
I don't want to say too much, just in case anyone else is wanting to watch and doesn't want to get spoiled.
Ah.
That fight is an incredible fight. I love all the different ideas that they have for that fight. Um,
Oh, well,
so yeah.
buckle up, Buckaroo, because one thing they did excellent throughout the entire show up to the very end is the choreography, um, the fight choreography and direction. It's all stellar. Um, because all the different earthbending styles are based off real life martial arts and whatnot, and so
Mm-hmm.
they translate that well. But then, of course, you have elemental superpowers, and
Mm-hmm.
they do fun stuff with that sometimes. But oh, I am very excited for you. Like you've seen how good season one is. What if I
Yeah, and
told you?
people keep saying it's the worst season, and I'm like,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
this is the
yeah,
worst,
yeah,
my word,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to
yeah.
what comes next.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. You haven't seen anything yet. You've seen garbage. It's
I
so good.
it's also
Um,
the humor in it is very good.
it's great.
It's stupid, like it's stupid
Yeah,
humor, but
yeah,
it the comedic timing is what gets it
yeah,
right. Like
yeah,
there's a bit where like Katara is pretending to be an Earthbender, right, and they do
yeah,
this weird thing where um uh Aang is like blowing air through a
yeah,
hole in the ground to levitate a
yeah,
rock, and
yeah,
Katara's like pretending
yeah,
to do that, and the guys look over and they're like, "Oh, that lemur's earthbending." You're just like it's just like such a stupid moment, but like because of like the tension and they build it up
yeah,
and the timing
yeah.
and like that stupid moment is just so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You're right. They are killer with their comedic timing, like in general, because it's wild because it's such a serious like show, right? Like both in terms of the overall plot and they treat that, the tone gets very heavy at times. But they still manage to pull off stupid stuff like this. And I think part of it is because like they're stupid 12-year-olds, so they're
Yeah.
gonna do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh man, I can't hurry up and finish it so I can talk to you about my favorite
It
episodes.
will only be
The
another few
Dragon
weeks.
Dance.
I got these done in 3 weeks, so
All right.
um we'll I'll be done
Tell
soon.
me when you get to Boomy. He's my favorite.
Yeah, I think that's everything. So that's what we've been up to. My word, I thought this was going to be a short episode. We're 25 minutes in.
I'm on. I'm on this show. You know that won't happen.
Let's get through this news. So first off, Desktop Cat Cafe is out now. Not much to say about
Okay.
that. That's the bottom of the screen Cat Cafe game, the
The
Rusty
the
like.
the Rusty like is about to say, yeah. That's
So if you were like, oh, I like the idea of Rusty's retirement, but I want it to be cats, there you go. Go get it.
yeah. The cats are kind of, I'm still not the whole idea. I don't like. I'm very on the idea, but the cats are very cute. I will say that. Um, yeah, it looks nice. I'm sure it's a wonderful entry for you, Rusty. Yeah, that's right, Rusty lights. Rusty like fans. Um, I enjoy cute cats.
Next, we have One Lonely Outpost have released their 1.0 and are now out on Switch, Xboxes, and PS5.
Wait, they weren't already on
They were
Switch?
not.
Okay.
This is their console release.
Oh well,
Um,
good for them.
their 1.0 is pretty slim. It's like, yeah, this is the 1.0, and it's like almost all bug fixes.
And then
Which
it's
is
a
like
game.
probably the right way to do it. Like I've always complained about people going, "Oh, this is the 1.0 and like here's half the game now
Yeah,
because it just ends up being buggy." So this is probably the right way to do it, but
yeah.
it's just really funny saying, "Here's the release notes for 1.0 and the only thing that isn't a bug fix is added 4 new artifacts to Sydney's shop."
I was about to say like the 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 amount of content for 1.0 is debatable maybe or a little subjective, yada yada. But the one thing, the game should work.
Yeah,
Right? Like that's the minimum. So you know what? If it's all just bug fixes to get to that point, I can live with that, I guess. I probably won't play this game, but you know,
for
good for them.
sure.
They crossed a finish line of
Next, we
some
have
kind.
a new DLC for Sprout Valley. It's the Friends Forever DLC.
Didn't
Uh,
expect this. I
hmm?
don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know, but here we are.
I think this
Sprout
is what
Valley
happens
DLC.
when you release a game that costs like a fiver. Is you
I guess
you
so.
sell DLC.
Yeah.
11 new friends that can be found while visiting new islands. Each of them has their own gift preferences, hobbies, unique style, and they're all different kinds of creatures, from buffaloes to frogs. Each new island's dweller has a quest line, at the end of which await new workspaces, items, and rewards.
Cool. 2-bit or 8-bit Hello Kitty Island adventure, basically. um,
It's not as big as that.
yeah, no, I know. I'm
Not
kidding. I'm
by
kidding.
in
I
no
know.
way is it. It was
I
fun.
know.
I had fun with the what, like 5 hours I played it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, no. I'm just saying because I'm looking at the one that I think looks like a dog. It looks a little like Cinnamoroll. Anyway, it's
yeah.
still a very cute game no matter what. Um, so good for you, Sprout Valley. Keep on trucking.
Next, we have Everhome have released their 1.1.0 update. This adds cooking,
I like
and
cooking.
it adds a compendium tracking discoveries. Um,
That's always a good one.
yep.
Feels like it should have been at 1.0.
Yeah, well, as you say,
Mm,
always debatable what these things are, but
true.
and they've also overhauled their quests and luck system.
Oh, okay. That's probably good. Um,
Well, maybe we'll see. Who knows?
well, yeah, touche. Um,
Farlands have released their zero point 0.4 update, adding relationships into the game.
oh, goody. Finally, now they're cottage core. Uh,
I think you'll find
um,
their space cottage core. Thank you very much.
it's, yeah, I don't. I'm trying to think of a clever name. I can't think of one, but here we are. Oh man, this is.
Space cottage. No, I'm not. No, I should have not. But
Can I romance aliens?
I don't think so.
Do just the cat people?
Yeah,
Boo.
I haven't seen anything about that anyway.
There should be. There's
But
very clearly an alien looking guy. I would guess it's an alien looking guy.
you know what
Um,
I think you might be excited about, though, Kevin?
I the next
Mika and the
news
Witch's
item.
Mountain Into the Mont Gaunt is now available. This is
Oh snap!
the
This
as
is a
far
reason
as
to
we
come
know,
back.
it's the last update for
Uh-huh.
Mika and the Witch's Mountain. I say as far as we know, just because in the release information they're saying it's the latest free content patch. It isn't
Mm,
actively saying it's the final one, but they have previously not mentioned any announcement of any other updates. But this
yeah.
is the one that adds in dungeons. So there are three dungeons in the game
Okay.
to test your skill.
So I was about to say, because I'm looking down the dungeons. There's one of fire, one of wind, and one of water. And no secret. This is oh my gosh, my Twilight. Not oh my goodness. Oh, Wind Waker. Jeez, I don't know why it
Mm-hmm.
took me to. I'm tired, people. It's Wind Waker inspired, and I'm looking at like all of that. I know that Wind Waker dungeon. I know that Wind Waker dungeon. And I'm like, yeah, we're just turning up the Wind Waker dial. And then I
But
scrolled to the near the bottom, and oh, there you go. They've also introduced your actually Link's costume. You get the tunic and a green hat. They call
I
it the Green
I
Witch,
yeah,
but
I think you'll find this is the Green Witch outfit. Thank you very much. Legally
yeah.
distinct.
Yep. Very cute. I love it.
You
Is
do
this reason for me to fire up Mika? Yeah,
Yeah,
actually probably
absolutely.
is. I haven't touched it.
Did you play
So
the other two updates?
I have not, so I'm gonna get them
Well,
all
there
at
you go then.
once.
I was
Yeah.
waiting for them all as well. Maybe we need to do an episode on the updates and get them
Yep.
all out.
I'm down for that. This is whoa. So I'm just reading. When you get the Green Witch costume, you get upward flight. So,
Oh, finally.
oh snap.
There we go.
The limiters
It's
are
just a
off.
shame that that's
And it's,
for completing the dungeons, i.e., having done everything in the game.
yeah, pretty much.
But hey, maybe it'll be fun. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah. I'm always, I was kind of, I'm always torn on this sort of design, right? Because it's not uncommon where you get the full power at the very end or whatever, right? And like on the one hand, it makes sense that, that's where the progression leads to. But on the other hand, like, what are you gonna do with it now?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think there is a balance to be had there, and I think this is why I like 3D platform, or sorry, not 3D, just platformers in general,
mhm.
because excluding Metroidvanias, which the whole point is just unlocking uh
Yeah.
skills as you go. I like the idea that it's what gets you through the game is your skill improving, not necessarily the game just giving you things to make it easier.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
And speaking of Metroidvanias, I did see one once which you didn't unlock stuff as you went through the game. It just told you about stuff as you went through the game. So if you like just experimented and tried things, you would actually be able to do things much earlier than the game told you about them.
Yeah, I like that. See, that is a good design right there.
Next, we have the announcement that the Wholesome Direct is coming back this year, coming in June.
Okay.
There we
Just
go.
like I don't mean like One Punch Man. Okay, I'm like, all right. I mean, yeah, that's fine.
There we go.
Um,
That's the thing. That is a
yeah.
nice, easy episode for us later in the year.
Yeah, that's the real excitement here. Easy episode announced.
No preparation except watching a video.
Yep, we can do that.
And finally, we have the announcement of Monster Patch. We have vaguely talked about this in the past because this is the monster collecting farming game by the
Oh,
maker
by
of
Sean
Littlewood.
Young.
Yes.
Yeah,
So, but this is like the first proper thing of it, and this is the Kickstarter is going live soon.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's very much Game Boy style graphics, kind of traditional Pokemon style graphics. So if you like that,
Very not just graphics, like even art style. Like
yeah,
that, those trainers. That's a Brock, Misty, and Ash.
yeah.
And there's even a Gary on the first
I
image.
was gonna say the
Um,
first one is definitely Gary.
that is definitely Gary. And so, even some of these Pokemon, getting in that little bit of that Power World school of thought. That that is that a Turtwig? You squint? Is that a Wooper? No, it's an Axolot. No, that's not a. It's not a Wooper. um. Uh. I will say.
Hold up, just a minute. Is Whipper
Yeah.
based on an axolotl?
Yeah.
I had never noticed that before, but you're
Yeah.
right. It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wild. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, it's got the little, antennae with the little, yeah,
It totally
the
is. It totally
verticals.
looks like
Yeah,
one.
yeah, there you go. Glad we made that connection. Yeah. Um, could we make a cuter axolotl? Probably, because axolotls are very cute. But Wooper's good. Wooper is good nonetheless. Um, I
And of course, it's shiny as pink, isn't it?
yep, that's correct.
Which is the standard
Standard. Yeah. Okay.
axolotl color. That was really hard
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah. Okay. Slight tangent here. So, the you know 99 pi,
Yes,
99%
I do.
invisible. Okay. For folks who don't know, it's a podcast that just goes into the history and origins of all sorts of random topics, just everyday things.
It's mostly like design stuff, but
Yeah,
yeah,
design stuff. Yeah,
they stretch out of that quite a bit.
they do.
But
They
that's
do.
the original
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. Um, there's an episode where they talk about axolotls, and how the pink axolotl, the common one that's so famous and popular, and you can get in pet shops, is so very distinct and different now because, just long story short, they years ago some researchers got like a handful, like eight axolotls from the wilds of Mexico, and then like all the lab, quote unquote lab axolotls, the pink ones with the translucent skin, all of those are more or less descendants from those eight. And they've just become so distinctly different from the wild ones. Because if you look at a wild axolotl from the ones in Mexico, they're not even pink, they're more like gray. Um, and they're a little more fish looking, for lack of a better word. It might just be because their skin isn't translucent like the ones that's so famous. Um, but it's a fascinating topic. I love axolotls, both the wild ones and the not wild ones. But yeah. So anyways, going back to the thing, Whooper's cool. And more importantly, Monster Patch. Like all the jokes about the style and whatever aside, it looks, at least the images look competently made. So I'm curious to see what how this will pan out. Um, do we have a date for the launch? I don't think we do. Do we?
No, it's coming soon.
All right. Well, keep your eyes out. Yeah, I don't know. We're growing things, and Pokemon are there.
Yes, yeah, fun. We'll see what it's like. But I like Littlewood, so and I like Pokemon.
I do. Well, actually, I haven't played Littlewood, but I like Pokemon. Um, so we'll
So I
see.
guess we'll see.
That apple dragon crocodile thing. I don't know what that is. That's a cute looking one. Um, I'm down. Let me know when. I mean, obviously you will let me know when this launches, but I'm just speaking to Sean Young, I guess. Not you, Al, but let me know when it launches so I can play this. I am intrigued.
Oh, I just noticed it does actually say the Kickstarter is launching on the 25th of
Oh,
March.
yeah, there it is at the very end. Oh, that's soon,
That
relatively,
is
but
2 weeks. 2 weeks
yeah,
time.
but it kills us. That's no indicator. It just gives us the various tiniest like false hope of when it actually comes out. Because
Yeah,
the we're talking about it like,
there
oh,
was
it's launch it.
because
That is
the
no correlation to when we can play it. None.
yeah because there was the what was the other chibi game? Uh, Elusive. Um,
Yeah.
the Kickstarter for that launched last week, and yeah, it was the expected release date for that is uh May 2027, so 2 years time.
Good. You know what? I at least I think I almost prefer a long launch window because that feels realistic slash believable slash.
Yeah,
But
yeah, but
I
it's
get
also
it.
the fact that Elusive was announced 3 years ago
Oh,
originally.
that's a different story. You're right.
Uh, so it's like, yeah, games take a long time, but also this will be like 5 years from the first time we hear about it when it eventually
Oh,
releases.
sick.
It's our first official 2027 release date. Just
That
checking my
is
spreadsheet. We have a
that
few
is
saying
also
2026, but nothing saying 2027 yet.
look. I don't want to be mean to Elusive, but all right, like the game dev's hard. I get it, but I just again, it's one of my favorite benchmarks. The Elusive dev cycle is longer than one confederacy of the United States.
Okay.
Good time.
Ba, 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 ba. Where am I? I lost my tab. There we are. That's all the news. Woo.
Woo, we did it.
We are now going to talk about Pixel Cross Rune Factory. Now,
So,
before we get into this,
yes,
Kevin, did you play
yes.
the previous one?
Yeah, we did. I was on the episode. We did
It
the
was me and
episode.
you, was it? Right. Okay.
Yes, it was.
So, next question: did you actually get any time to play this game this week?
A little bit.
Okay.
I've reached the first boss. There's my
Okay. Well, yeah, that's decent. So, I mean, that's. Do you get the custom? I think you get the customization by that point.
yeah. Oh yeah, you get
Yeah,
that
yeah,
early on. That's like one of the first ones you get. Yeah. So
yeah.
I have enough to have thoughts, and I haven't seen the full
Good.
things, but certainly
I think
enough
you've seen
for
enough.
opinions.
You've seen
Yes.
enough,
Yes.
realistically, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you also see, I think the boss, the only thing you won't have done is a color one,
Yeah. I've not seen it done a color one yet. No.
but
But
I think they're pretty clear what they are,
yeah.
right? Like they're just
Yeah.
slightly more complicated ones. But we'll come to that when we come to it.
Yes.
So I actually I'm changing this list around. I want to talk about the customization first because this is the thing that's different
Oh.
this is the thing that's different about this game, other than I guess the bosses are different, the
Okay.
colors are different, but
Well,
this is the thing that seemed
well,
the most interesting to me
well, there's a few
until I
things.
played the game.
Oh, okay. I'm going to take hold on. Before we get there, I'm going to take one step back just for anyone who might not remember, because that was a while ago and people aren't remember, right? So we're talking nonogram Picross puzzles, right? They did when we're talking about is Pixel Cross Story of Seasons. That's the previous game, and that was just a very straightforward, bare bones. Here's a bunch of Picross puzzles, and there happens to be Harvest Moon. They're all Harvest Moon or Story Seasons images. There's music in the background and a little farm growing in the background. But that was pretty much it, right? A very and yeah, I enjoy it because I enjoy Nonogram,
Mhm.
but straightforward and basic sort of collection of puzzles.
Yeah.
This one, they upped it. I'm surprised. I didn't think they could take it places, but they did. They're doing stuff, right? Um, because okay, let's get into the customization now. That's one of the biggest ones because
Yep.
Story of Seasons was just automatically happening in the background. You kind of looked at it here and there,
Yep.
but here, go ahead, Al. Tell them.
Yeah, so here I mean, realistically, it's not fundamentally different, right? Like
Right.
the background is still doing the same thing. It is the background, and you have a farm like the previous one because it's still farming, right? Um, but you get to like choose how your farm looks, basically, right? So you have um you can it's very specific, like you can go down to which crops you want on which crop plot point, right? You can say I want a turnip here, I want a potato
Yeah.
here, I want a cabbage there. You can be very specific about it, weirdly detailed. And you can
Yeah.
also change your character's look and weapons and stuff like that. I guess the thing I was disappointed about it was it doesn't change anything, right? It is just the background, and that's fine. Maybe I shouldn't have expected any more, but it doesn't make any difference to gameplay. It's just
Yeah.
changing what is on in the background, which some people might really like, but I'm just a little bit. I don't particularly care because it's really in the background, right? Like it's there, but you're looking at
Yeah.
the puzzle, and especially as I don't know how you play these games, but I'm trying to do them as quickly as possible, and then I put it down when I finished, right?
Right. Um, well, okay. There is I think there's a little more to it that gives it a little more meat on the bones. First of all, this now introduces a collection aspect, right? Like one that you can actually display, right? Whether it's you're displaying different crops on the field, or perhaps more importantly to us, you can collect monsters, right?
Oh yes, of
Uh,
monsters. I forgot about the monsters, of course.
yeah, right. You can have a couple of monsters on your farm, and they're just walking around, again, just background elements, but gotta catch them all,
Well,
right? Gotta catch them all.
and including, you won't know this, but you can have the bosses there as well.
Yeah, I figured so. I think there was a page for that. Like you could kind of see it on the customization pages. But yes, including bosses, so that's fun. Um, and actually, I guess no, I'll get to that in a second. The other big one I think is the quote unquote, and I say big is still not that big, but the arms or equipment or whatever. So you can unlock different weapons because Rune Factory, is combat based. And there are combat scenes in the background when you're fighting monsters to capture them or whatnot, right? Um, so depending on the weapons you equip, you actually get different animations going on in the background. I don't know if you played around with that, Al, or caught it, but if you equip gauntlets versus a sword or an axe or whatever, you get different animations. And again, just background stuff, nothing that significant, but it's a
Yeah,
cute little nod. I
it's
appreciate that.
fun, and I get
Yeah,
why people like it. It's just that's not really my thing.
sure.
I'm much more interested, I think, in the changes they made to gameplay, which we'll come on to in a minute.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
but yeah,
Um,
it
okay, before
was.
we get to the some of the different puzzles or how they spice it up, the other thing that I like, so when you start the game, you're asked basically there are two modes you can do. You can do puzzle mode or adventure mode. Now, puzzle mode is just basically like the first one where it's just a collection of puzzles and you just do them. And I think you can still unlock the customization and so on and so forth, but it's just a big block of puzzles, a list of puzzles. Adventure mode is a little different because you unlock the puzzles basically on a sort of map where you clear one
Yeah.
puzzle and then surrounding tiles on this map will unlock. So you can kind of bounce around and progress. Right at the end, it's just a it's still just a list of puzzles, just a slightly
It,
different direction and a little different presentation. But it's again kind of a fun little nod to the Rune Factory series where you got
yeah,
exploration and whatnot, right?
it kind of doesn't make any difference, but in a way it does because it gives you a lot more flexibility on what you're playing, right? Like if you in standard like nonogram games, you just got like here's a list
Yep.
and you go and do one, then you do the next, you do the next, you do the next. Whereas here
Yeah.
you do one and it kind of unlocks the top and the left of that one, and you
Yeah.
do the one over there and it does the bottom and the right of that one,
Yeah.
and it gives you lots of, and the as much as I was like not massively bothered about the customization in the background,
Hmm.
I do feel like purely this like map based layout does make me feel a little bit more immersed in this world, right? Because
It
it actually
does.
feels like you're traveling, it feels like you're exploring, and
It
especially as like it shows you there are some areas there but you can't get to them yet,
yeah. Yeah.
and then you unlock that and then it shows you more areas you can get to. It feels like I'm
Yeah.
exploring much
It
more
does, right? And
anything
it's
else.
some that establishes a goal of sort, right? Like actual progress, which is, not associate with the nonogram collection game, but I agree. Yeah, because like you said, I've reached a puzzle where okay, I cleared the puzzles next to them, but it didn't unlock. Why is that? Well, that's I guess for me to discover, and that's kind of fun. Um, uh, and if nothing else, like I think it's all I'm impressed by how clever all these ideas are, right? Like, because you don't have a lot of room to play with this sort of game, right? Like, the bread and butter is just the nonograms. So how do we make it a little more interesting? And they're using some fun ideas here. And the adventure map absolutely is one of them. Now, the other thing with adventure mode is that you also get some different challenges, which are optional in the standard
Yeah.
puzzle mode. Um, and that amounts to basically different variations on the puzzle. The first one is color puzzles, which I don't even know if it's actually just locked to adventure mode. But anyways, so you
I
have the
don't think
color
they
mode
are.
where oh really? Oh okay.
I don't. I
Well.
think the only thing that's locked to adventure mode is the boss battles being challenges.
Yeah, I think they said you can do challenges in puzzle, but it's not required.
Yeah, yeah, well,
Um,
yeah. That's the thing.
yeah,
Adventure mode is you're specific. You have to do them.
yeah, you're forced to do
Uh,
it.
but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay, okay. So the color puzzles, as the name implies, like you now not only have your numbers that you're filling out, but you have them in different color blocks. So you need to fill them with the correct color. I haven't done one, so I don't remember all the specifics, uh, yeah, but I think I've done other nonogram games where they've done similar mechanics, and it's always a fun little touch to add, just a little variation at least in the puzzle, right? Um, uh, oh, you know what? This also reminds me. One thing I found intriguing is when you start the game and you're setting up your profile, you're actually given a little tutorial on all the elements of the nonogram puzzles and the different modes and stuff. Um, not it's nothing super heavy nor handholdy. In fact, maybe it's a little light for how complex these can be. But it's a nice little touch, and it's presented in the frame of Rune Factory, a tutorial character giving you info. So that was a fun little touch. But yeah, did you actually get to the color puzzles, Al?
yeah, I did one color puzzle. It's basically just the complication is that there are now three states for each box, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right? It can be nothing. It can be red or it can be blue, right? Like that's
Right.
and it does make it more complicated, right? Because then you'll have like you have numbers where they're colors. The one thing that's interesting about it is that if you have, say, like a red one and a blue one, they can be next to each other. There doesn't have to be a gap between them. That I think is the biggest difference between this and the normal ones. Whereas normally, if you have like 1 1 1, that would
Right.
they couldn't be right next to each other. Obviously, there'd have to be a gap between them. But because they're different colors, they can all be right next to each other. So it just makes it slightly more difficult, right? Where a 10 by 10 wouldn't be a particularly difficult one, but as soon as you add in a third state into it, it makes it quite a bit more difficult, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It's
Um,
it's a fun extra challenge. It changes things up as well because it means that when you go into one and you're like, oh, this one's a color one, that's cool.
yeah.
Um, that makes it more fun. I think what I more enjoyed though, which I think we're about to come on to, unless you have something else, is the boss battles.
Yeah, yeah, I don't have anything else really because this is definitely the I think the most interesting edition because
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen a nonogram use this sort of mode.
yeah. I've seen timed ones before, but not
Uh-huh.
not with the added part of this. So let me just do a
Right.
quick explainer. So the
Right.
boss battles, first of all, they're like one of the kind of larger mosaic ones where you have
Yeah.
multiple different ones to make up a bigger picture.
Right.
Um, and then also they are timed. So I think you
Yeah.
have like 10 minutes. I don't know if they're different times and different boss battles. I can't remember.
So I well, first of all, okay, they call it a challenge mode. I think that's what they call
Yeah.
it, and it's not just the boss battles. Even anytime you fight a monster, it's a challenge mode puzzle.
Uh,
Um, but the boss
don't
battles
think.
are the multi the mosaic one where you have to do several puzzles to unlock the whole picture. Um,
Were they? Are you sure?
I'm like 90% sure.
I haven't done a. I've not done a huge amount this week on it. I was mostly doing
Okay.
it last week, so
Yeah, I'm
might have just
90% sure.
forgotten. But the the
Anytime.
the thing that makes it more of a challenge is that if you do something wrong, your timer increases.
Yeah.
So it you can't just like go super fast and make a bunch of mistakes because
Yeah.
then you're gonna fail. Um,
Yeah.
so you have to be fast and accurate, which is fun. I think it's
Yeah,
like
it is. Right.
here's a different challenge to do. It's like you because I mean, personally, I don't know about you. I like to do them fast anyway, especially the early ones. Like, I'm always enjoying the ones it's like, okay, you open this and you immediately know what to do. Like, can you do it
Yeah.
in 4 seconds, sort of thing? Those are really
Yeah.
fun. But this
Yeah.
then extends that out into the more difficult ones as well.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, so I'm something of a nonogram perfectionist. If I make a mistake, I restart the game. But that's completely self-imposed.
Yeah.
It is fun to have that not acknowledged, but the kind of in that vein where because I don't lose the game if I make a mistake, but the to see a mode introduced that punishes you a little, I think it is a very fun idea.
Yeah.
And the part that kills me is it's punishing me for a habit I developed, because it's not just filling. So you fill in the square with the color, or you put an X if there's nothing there, right? Um, it's not just you have to put fill in all the squares correctly. Even the X's, if you put the X in the wrong spot, you're punished, right? And I've just gotten into this habit where like I'm counting spaces and then I'll put an X as a placeholder
Ah.
and I'll go back and erase it or whatever, right? Just to kind of space it out, see the
Yeah.
visual.
Yeah.
But I can't do that anymore because they'll punish me, and
Oh,
I
that's
do that a
funny.
lot. So
Yeah.
that breaks me in challenge mode. So that little nefarious, but I like it nonetheless.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and also the presentation of it, right? Because you're fighting these enemies, like the monsters show up as in the background.
Yeah.
It changes from the farm scenery to you now have your character on one side, you will now have the enemy on the other side, and as you're filling it out, they're kind of attacking each other, right? And it matches up with your progress. If you're doing well and you fill up a lot of spots or whatever, your character will do an attack. If you make a mistake, the monster will do an attack on you.
Yeah.
Um, and it is here where, as mentioned earlier, if you have the different equipment, if you pick a sword versus gauntlets or whatever, you have different animations. Again, all background stuff, but very nice touch nonetheless. A
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah. It
thought.
definitely felt the battles felt much more fun.
Hmm.
I felt with well, not fun, immersive than the farming bit, right? Because the farming bit is just like, oh, you're doing a puzzle and there happens to be a
Yeah,
farm in the background.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas the battles
absolutely.
are like actually doing something in the background and what you're
Yeah,
doing affects the background
yeah,
directly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
You're
I
right.
found that much more it made much more sense to do this
Hmm.
than I guess the Story of Seasons one did, right? Because the Story of Seasons one is basically just the farming bit of this one, but without the customization,
Yep.
which uh okay, fine, I guess. But yeah, no, I really like the battles.
Excuse me. Yeah, I fully agree. Um, I think it's, to be fair, I think the Story of Seasons one walked so this game could run. Um,
Yeah,
Not that they're building off too many ideas, but still, overall, it's really cool the stuff they've done here that
it,
incorporates the combat and all that.
it definitely felt to me like they were building this game and then the Story of Seasons game was the MVP, right? Like the minimum viable game, and they're like,
Oh,
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 this is
that that that,
this
that
is good
MVP,
enough.
not the
Let's
other one.
yeah. So oh yeah, sorry, minimum
Yeah,
viable
no, the
product.
Story of
Uh
Seasons was the MVP. Rune Factory is the other
yeah,
MVP.
and so they got to the point where they were like, oh wait, we can release this one, and then keep going on the other one.
Yep, yep, yep,
It definitely felt like that to me. Just like change up the assets, right? Make it
yep,
the Story of Seasons characters rather than the
yeah,
Rune Factory characters. There you go, done. Everything else the same.
yep, yep, yep.
Which is like fair enough. I mean, that game
Yeah,
in and of itself was fun. No
yeah.
one's going to say no to a half decent uh, nonogram
Nonogram
game,
collection. Yeah,
right? Like
absolutely.
nonogram players will buy every nonogram game.
Yeah, as we do. Yes.
uh,
Oh
so
man.
I think that's good, and I will say the controls are pretty good in this,
Yeah.
and you know they allow you to use like touchscreen or
Buttons.
control buttons, and the settings are pretty good. Like it didn't default to what I like, but
Yeah.
it let me change it to what I wanted,
Me too.
and while still being in challenge mode. So I
Yeah.
like, for example, when uh I like when the games change the numbers to grayed out when you've
Yeah.
completed that one,
Yeah.
and when you've completed a row, it'll like X out the empty ones that you haven't
Yeah.
done yet, because
Yeah.
it's like that doesn't make it any more difficult. It's just it's just killing my time, right? And
Hmm.
I like it automatically doing that for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the fact that it has all those settings, even if they're not on
Yeah.
by default, and
It
those are separate from the challenge mode.
yeah, it is yeah, it's wild, honestly, the amount of customizability they give you with the options, considering it's just nonogram. It's a pretty
Yeah,
decent list. And hey, they even threw in dyslexic mode for, accessibility purposes.
yeah.
Cool beans for them.
I tried that. That was a horrible font to look at, but if you're
Well,
dyslexic, I'm sure it's very helpful. But I was just like, I'm really intrigued as to what this would look like. I
yep.
turned it on and went, nope, not for me.
It looks like the Pokemon gibberish runes. Um, but I'm hats off to them for being there. There is one more element I want to talk to. I don't know if you've gotten it to it, Al. I'm gonna guess you haven't. I'm gonna guess it takes some investment. But the fact that it's there, like this is the first game in a while where I've been excited to see the a relationship slash spouse mechanic in the game.
Yeah, it's
Finally, I
very
can get married in my nonogram collection.
yeah, I haven't got to that point, but I'm guessing it's very limited. I don't think
Oh
it's
yeah.
I think it's just you have a spouse or you don't have a spouse, right? Like
Yeah, but here's the thing. So it's under the collections, the
yeah,
customizability stuff, right? The question I have, and it clearly says, okay, you need to, clear a certain puzzle to unlock this spouse candidate or
yeah.
whatever in your thing. The question I have is, if you pick one, are you locked in, or can you change them?
Oh, surely you can change it. 'Cause my guess is you unlock them the same way you're like unlocking the monsters, right? Like
Yeah, that's what I
there's a
guess too.
nonogram that if you complete it, then you can marry this person. But I can't see why
Yeah,
when everything else is optional.
Oh, I
Everything else is
agree.
customizable. There's no way they'll lock you in,
Yeah,
right?
I most
Surely.
likely, but still, the thought of where you can only pick one that is a fun thought of
Yeah.
the fear of that choice. But you're probably right. It's probably just changeable whenever. So divorce and remarry as much as you want, I guess.
Especially as you'll be meeting them slowly over time, right? So, like,
Yeah.
imagine you find one and you're like, oh, yeah, let's marry this one. And then you meet someone who you're like, oh, no, I should have waited. Oh, no. I mean, that's just life, right? Like,
Exactly.
you settle for the first person that is not,
Uh,
that just in case people assume that is not my feeling towards my wife. I love my wife. Just want to make that
it's
clear.
I mean, what is marriage but the Toy Story throwing away Woody meme?
Oh my, what a way to end this section. Uh,
See, this is how good the Pixel Cross Rune Factory is. It's led us to this.
all right, last chance to bring anything up about the game.
I can't think of anything else.
If you,
Yeah, no.
okay, I guess we got to finish on then. You would recommend this to people, right? That's not a
Oh,
question.
oh
If you
yeah,
like a
absolutely,
nonogram game,
right?
it's a good one. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, nonogram players are addicts who are desperately looking for the next fix, right? So, that goes without saying. Um, if someone who's never played nonogram, maybe, well, it has a few fun elements to maybe pull them in. And like one thing I'll say again, all these are background elements or whatnot, right? But the how they quote unquote translate all those elements into this collection game, like it's impressive, really. Just the care that went into it and whatnot. So
Yeah,
good for you, Pixel Cross people. You did a good job.
for sure. All right. Well, thank you for joining me, Kevin. Where can people find
Thank
you
you,
on the
Al, for having me
internet?
on. If you want to find me on the interwebs, you can find me at Koopa Prez on Blue Sky or at the Artist Squared. If you want to see my art that I haven't posted, I'll get to it. If you can't exist, that was a good first step, and I have been making a lot of art. I just not have been posting it. I'm very bad about that. Um,
Classic.
yeah, classic indeed. You can also find me over at Rainbow Road Radio, friend or words show I do with mutual friend Alex, where we talk about all things Mario. In case people didn't hear, we have Alex has had to dial it down because he's had other stuff pop up. We are kind of monthly right now. We haven't exactly hard set the
You're
schedule.
whenever you have the time
Whenever we have the time,
slash have something
basically.
to talk about.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing. Alex wants to keep playing the games. He wants to more or less make the episodes when we have a game to talk about, not just generic news or whatever, right? And that's fair and that's understandable. We're like him. We are both playing Mario Odyssey still. We're doing the Sand Kingdom or whatever. So that that will come out relatively soon. We don't have it. I don't know the date right now, but we are working on that. And the other aspect of it, and I'm gonna fess up to it here, right? Like we when we talked about this, I wanted to keep it going as much as I could, right? But I also knew my time is very, very severely limited. So that's why I'd never edited episodes or whatever. We recorded an episode that has not been released because I have not been able to edit it. It's been at least 2 weeks, and then worst of all, like I mentioned earlier, my computer died, including the files for said episode. So now that's going to take even longer. But anyways, that's just some inside baseball for folks. But there's still other episodes of that, and there are more coming out. So do tune in. It is still a great time when we do record and bring out an episode. That is again Rainbow Road Radio on all your podcast platforms and all that. What about you, Al? Where do people find you?
Yeah, well, find me here on this podcast, or
Okay.
if you want to follow me on social media, I'm at the Scottbot on Mastodon.Scott and on Blue Sky. You can find the podcast on Tumblr and on Blue Sky at THS Pod. You can find our website, harvestseason.club, where you can send us feedback. And you
Ask
can
us
also
questions.
yeah, if you've got questions, if you have an opinion on anything we've talked about, you can send it there, or you can comment on Spotify, apparently. You can also find links to everything to do with the podcast on the website, including a link to our Patreon, patreon.com/thspod, where you can find bonus episodes of the podcast. Me and Kevin, a couple of weeks ago, just did one reaction to the Pokemon Presents, and we'll have some more coming soon.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple. We've got set dates. We've talked about. We haven't actually done, but I'll bug you about that later. But yeah, the Pokemon Presents. I love, man. We should have gone back and listened to our predictions episode to see how we did. We didn't even think about doing that, but yeah, you get the before and after the Presents.
And you can also get access to our Slack, where people chat about lots of things. Yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you, Kevin,
There
again
you
for
go.
joining me.
Thank you all for having me on.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. And until next time, have a
Good
good
harvest. The harvest season is created by Al McKinley with support from our patrons, including our pro farmers, Kevin, Stuart, and Elisa. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode. Woo! Let's think of a nonogram joke. I didn't think of one, but bye, everyone.
You can think of nonogram jokes.
Yeah, that's correct.
That didn't really work grammatically.
Let's